The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
And we are live to the W2M Network with the Wrestling to the Max Smackdown live review for March 20th? Today's the 20th, right?
Yes.
No, not anymore.
Technically the 21st now, but, well, in where
the
we
show
are.
for the 20th, so close enough.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
Good evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening, everybody, and welcome in. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. I forgot my name for a second. It is too late in the morning for me to be doing a podcast. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. Joining me, as per usual, the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Pugliese.
Hello.
And the Triple H to my Steve Austin, Brandon Biskobing.
That doesn't make any sense. It should be the Vince tier Steve Austin.
No,
Get it
because
right,
that would make you my boss, and we all know that ain't the truth.
Well, I am right now. I am the producer, after all.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You hang up on me, you hang up on all of us. And you wouldn't hang up on Liz. You don't want that kind of heat. No snack boxes for you, sucker.
That reminds me, I have to mail one out to somebody. I forgot.
Did Mike not get his snack box yet?
No, I totally forgot over the weekend. I told him he'd have it in time for Mania, though. So.
Anywho, well, tonight's episode of Smackdown was rather uneventful.
Not.
Haha.
Really? Nothing? Can't even give me a little bit here? Nothing, guys?
Nope. Denied.
Rejected, as the old NBA Jam used to say. Yeah, we got some breaking news on this one, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages.
Even though it was broken before the show even came up.
We might just touch on that too, but let's go ahead and get to the news itself, and then we'll talk about the way they handled it afterwards. Fair enough?
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right. Our opening promo scheduled for 10 minutes. And in this particular instance, I'm not going to complain about a promo going 10 minutes because every bit of it was well-deserved.
Yep.
He's back. For those of you living under a rock and are cordially unaware of this, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, known to WWE fans as Daniel Bryan, has been cleared to return to in-ring action.
Huzzah!
And oh, did they turn on the feels for this one. Not gonna lie, Brandon, it felt like they gut punched me when they showed his retirement speech at the start of the show.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising that they showed that. I I kind of expected it, but it was pretty shocking that they were going to show that and then have him, come out. At first I was thinking that they were, that he was going to completely swerve everyone and be like, yeah, I'm cleared, but I'm not coming back.
How dare you?
That's just how it felt to me. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but at the same time, I was like, no, there's no way they're going to do this.
Liz, is it just me, or did Daniel Bryan make Brie Bella a bigger babyface here than she'd been in her previous decade with the company?
I guess. Okay, so let me just get this out of the way. I am probably one of the few fans. I absolutely, like everybody else, love Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever his name is. I honestly had no emotion about him returning whatsoever. Maybe I am just a jaded old woman or whatever. I personally think that, hey, good for him. He got the clearance. It's his passion. It's his life, whatever. I think for me, there's a certain, you're taking a big risk. But that's just me. I think it's great, he's going to come back, but I'm an awful person because I felt nothing.
I mean, I'll agree with you on the sense of he's taking a risk, but, I mean, considering he's been cleared by every doctor that he's seen, he's gone to multiple doctors, and the fact that I would think and hope that WWE and, guys like Triple H and other guys that have been in the business and whatnot have said, yeah, we're going to clear you, but, maybe tone it down a little bit, in the way you work matches, to avoid any problems.
Sure. And then you see tonight's main event segment and you realize, that's probably not going to happen.
Yes, I know it probably won't happen, but,
you can get clearance to do a lot of things, but it's usually maybe you shouldn't. But you can if you want, but maybe you shouldn't. But whatever. We'll see see where it goes, and I'm sure it'll be great. And
I will say this much, Liz. Do you want to know the reason why I think he fought so hard for this?
It's his dream. It's his passion. He was robbed when he lost what? I don't know what.
He wanted the opportunity for his daughter to see him do what he loved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cry me a fucking river, please. That's what they have videotapes for. Give me a break. She's one. By the time not even one. She's what hell is she, like 6 months old? By the time she's old enough to realize what the hell they're doing, he'll be retired again.
Please send any and all hate mail to s.summer@gmail.com. Jesus, Liz.
No, my email is my last name with an extra E at the end at gmail.com.
Spell your last name.
Yeah, really.
It's on the thing. It's usually on there. It usually says Liz Pugliese. Okay, fine. It's PUGLIESEE at gmail.com.
Yes, any all hate mail right there. There you go.
I still like sending the hate mail to Sean just because it reminds him that we're on the network still.
No. I mean, I know how horrible I sound, but I don't buy into any of that. It's
I completely do buy into it. Is it maybe the right decision for him? Maybe not. But I mean, I'm sure anyone with a passion for something has done some crazy things. I mean, I'm sure God forbid I say his name, and please forgive me, anyone who does not enjoy his commentary. But I'm sure Joe Buck and Jim Ross have both done some pretty crazy things in order to be able to continue to stay on the air through their various situations.
Absolutely, and I don't begrudge the man. I'm not like upset about it. In the long run, who wins? The fans and everything. But I'm just saying, I didn't have the emotional reaction that other people did.
And that's fair to an extent, but at the same time, I do believe that the vast majority of the fan base is going to be significantly more excited about this news than people who are of Liz's persuasion in regards to this. And different strokes for different folks. It is what it is. Let's talk about the way they went about handling it here, because it was pretty much universally panned that they made this announcement on social media. Here's the thing, though. I think that when the ratings come back for this episode and we see a significant rise in viewership for this particular episode of Smackdown, it'll make sense why they revealed the news ahead of the episode here in order to drive those extra eyes and asses to their television sets.
I get it. I get that in a TV sense and whatnot. But it's the same issue. I have the same issue here as I did not this past year, but the year before last, with the way they handled the Royal Rumble. Yes, you're gonna try to, give away things to draw some eyeballs. But then it takes away from the excitement and from the shock value of that moment. And I would have, in an ideal world, I would have saved this for WrestleMania and had him come out as Shane's surprise partner at WrestleMania and had that moment at Mania. Because what's the one thing, just off the top of your head, obviously the Undertaker stuff that'll probably overshadows it a little bit. But just off of the top of your head, what was one of the biggest moments of WrestleMania last year?
You're referring to the Hardy Boys' return.
Yep.
Which, to some degree, we all knew about, beforehand.
But
there was a lot of
That's
speculation.
the thing.
But
yes,
we all went nuts.
Exactly. Yes, the smarter fans are gonna have that inclination in the back of their head that it's probably gonna happen. But still, when it happens, everyone goes nuts. The same thing happened with AJ being a surprise entrant at the Rumble a couple of years ago at number 3. Everyone kind of had the inclination that it was gonna happen, but then once he came out, everyone went crazy because it was still that surprise factor. You lose that when you do things like this.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I do think that they're trying to prove the point that they can still draw ratings in an era where necessarily ratings aren't the biggest factor for the world of television entertainment.
I agree with that, but I think they're trying to win the battle but lose the war as a result.
No, it's just a case of they have so many different people that they have to placate in order to, when it comes to situations like this here. And I feel like they needed to pop a big rating for sponsorship as well as for their own personal things to justify their decision to let Bryan come back as well.
That may be true.
I don't know. I mean, but it's not, I mean, not to the degree of this, but they've done it before where they've been like, oh, by the way, they've spoiled, their own stuff in various ways, beforehand as well. So it's kind of their thing, it's becoming. I don't think anybody really needs to justify, having Daniel Bryan return, to the ring. Everybody's been wanting it, for so long. And I mean, and even as I had no emotional reaction to it whatsoever. Yeah, of course I want to see him, wrestle again, but they've done it before and they'll do it again. It doesn't matter,
Heading backstage, Daniel Bryan runs into Little Nate's Charles Robinson, who he asked to tell him once Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn arrived to discuss their actions last week. The first actual wrestler that we see approach Bryan, now that we know that he is returning, is Dolph Ziggler, who says that he's happy to hear that Bryan's returning and that he can't wait to beat Bryan in the ring. To which Bryan replies, well, you can certainly try. This actually plays off a little bit of history that these two have. Did you know that these two had a champion versus champion match at one of the old Bragging Rights pay-per-views a couple of years back? And in most people's opinion, it was the best match on that show.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Ziggler stuck in mid-card purgatory once again. I can't help but think that a match with Bryan couldn't be the worst thing to help his stagnated career.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, all the dream matches that we're going to potentially get now with Bryan being cleared, It'll be interesting to see how much they'll be willing to let him go now, though.
Well, you say that, and then the main event for tonight's show happens, and we'll talk about.
Well, I'm not talking in that sense. I'm talking in terms of what's his schedule going to be like. Is he truly going to be full time again?
I can't see him. I can't see him wrestling every week. At least not in the beginning.
Yeah.
I see him working almost like a schedule like they were going to work out with Rey Mysterio before Rey tore his tricep at an indie show, where he works some TVs and pay-per-views, and that's it. He doesn't do house shows because, while house shows are important to keep the fans entertained there's no real necessity for Daniel Bryan to work a house show with his condition being what it is.
And you don't want to have a page effect.
Wear and tear on him.
And you don't want to have a page effect.
Well, that was I dislike Sasha, but even I'll admit that was somewhat of a fluke accident.
Oh, no, I agree, but what I'm saying is, it seems like a lot of these injuries occur at house shows, Seth's injury, Paige's injury, I'm sure there's a few others that I'm missing.
All right, shall we move on with the rest of the show now? Because we do have a lot to get to, and we're already probably about 15 minutes in.
Yep.
All right, just for Cass, what day is it?
It's Rusev Day.
Obviously.
No, it's Nakamura Day.
No, it's Rusev Day. He was just nice enough to give a win to Nakamura on Rusev Day. Rusev is generous like that.
Sure.
It is our opening contest scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
As we get a rematch from Fastlane of Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Rusev. I will say this much, Brandon. Again, the Nakamura-Rusev Day chants are about 50-50 during this match, and we do not see a direct pinfall finish on this contest either. We don't see a finisher pin, screw you, Rusev. We instead see Rusev somewhat protected via roll-up in the finish as Nakamura gets the win at 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Your thoughts on this contest, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it during Fastlane, or after Fastlane. It's kind of surprising and, a good surprise with Rusev that they're actually kind of protecting him a little bit with the roll-up, and I forget exactly how he lost at Fastlane, but I know it wasn't.
Back Kinshasas.
Okay, so it was a clean win, but, you did have to have two. And he had a pretty good performance at Fastlane. I would not at all be surprised if we saw Rusev, if not win, at least have a strong performance and maybe be one of the last couple of men in the Andre this year.
Before Liz gives her thoughts on this match, I need to correct myself.
Yes.
Liz?
First, let me say I'm really glad that we don't do video on this because everybody would just see me shaking my head at you a lot, and they'd think I had something wrong with me.
No, it's me.
No, it was a good match. I liked, everybody enjoys seeing, Rusev rather. The chants definitely were 50-50 there. Listen, I thought it was a pretty decent match, and I liked that he was kind of, protected. It wasn't a straight pin. And if he was to win the Andre Rumble, Battle Royal, whatever it's called, I would completely freak out in happiness.
Of course, we all know that that's not going to happen because it would make the most sense right now.
Hey, you never know. They actually did the sensible thing at the Royal Rumble this year.
Let a girl dream, Harry. Let a girl dream.
Well, when I find what I will, Liz.
I've already cursed enough. I've already cursed enough in this show.
All right. Post-match, Rusev and English attack Nakamura afterwards. AJ Styles stands up at commentary, appears to be getting ready to make the save, when Shinsuke's like, I don't need you to make no save, I'll make my own save, and does so. We then get an Asuka video package, which leads to a verbal confrontation backstage between Charlotte and Natalya. Words are flung, insults are hurled, and a match is made for later on in the evening. And I say this as a guy, and forgive my phrasing here, but I'm going to use the exact same phrase that I used in the group chat here. Charlotte, for the love of God, put your tits away.
What?
She's one of the few that wears these open-chested outfits, and they're front and center.
I mean, it is still Vince's company.
Well, no. Let me just say this before we move on to much more important things. She is most of them wear open-fronted things. Sasha does. It's just that Charlotte actually has a chest to show off. Asuka is actually chesty, but she's kind of taped down a bit. So that's the difference. Most of them really don't have much to show off. And Natalya, who actually does, wears a very different type of outfit, gear, whatever you want to call it.
There's a comment about having seen Asuka here. We're going to go ahead and move on because this is not that kind of show.
You started it. But anyway.
I did start it.
Yes, you did.
Styles and Nakamura have a backstage confrontation with Shinsuke saying that he does not need AJ's help. He then proceeds to tell AJ something. AJ cuts him off and says that you're going to beat me at WrestleMania. And Shinsuke responds back to him of, you should have a little more faith in yourself. I lost it.
I missed that. How did I miss that? I gotta Google it.
It was right after a break. I missed the first part of it. I cut in right as...
Oh, the way that Shinsuke delivered the "you should have more faith in yourself."
I heard that part. That was hilarious.
I missed
the whole thing. I was making soup. I must have been tending to it. I missed the whole thing. I gotta find it.
What kind of soup?
Tomato.
Disappointment.
Yes.
Nakamura then once again reiterates the fact that at WrestleMania it will end knee to face. Our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is the battle of who could care less as Baron Corbin takes on Dillinger. Sorry, it is what it is.
It's the battle of who's buried the most.
So true, gentlemen.
Actually, you know what? I have a better name for this match. Our following I Want to Go Back to NXT, scheduled for one fall.
-1 falls.
Corbin picks up the win here in about 2.5 minutes. The big thing to talk about here is the fact that they blew the finish.
Did they?
Dillinger came off of the ropes and got caught in the crossbody. Corbin went to swing him into End of Days, and apparently either Dillinger sandbagged him or Corbin lost his grip, so they had to go out to the floor and then come back in and do End of Days from there. The finish was very obviously botched.
Oh, I did. I mean, I wasn't paying attention all that much to the match, so I didn't see it. Yeah.
I saw him kind of go limp, but I hadn't seen the whole thing, so I didn't realize.
I feel like going limp is a personal problem.
You've been hanging out too much with Jason and Eric.
Clearly, this needs to stop. All right, our next contest scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
I'm waiting for Liz to hang up on us because I feel like it's going to happen.
I'm telling you, my head I just keep shaking my head.
Is non-title action as Charlotte takes on Natalya. Towards the end of the contest here, we'll get to the part that's important here. Towards the end of the contest, both ladies are down after Natalya delivers a very nice-looking superplex.
Mm-hmm.
And FABULOUH hits in the arena, leading to Carmella coming rushing down the ramp. Well, rushing as quickly as she can after having to wait for a referee. She gets into the ring, kind of toe taps at Charlotte to make sure that Charlotte's still down, goes to cash in Money in the Bank, and Charlotte proceeds to kick her where, Brandon?
Right in the head?
In the face. This distraction, however, allows Natalya to roll up Charlotte from behind and pin the SmackDown Women's Champion via roll-up and distraction at just over 14 minutes of television time, about 11 of which was aired. Liz, your thoughts on the fact that Charlotte's going into a match with Asuka at WrestleMania, and yet she's dropping a pinfall to Natalya here on SmackDown?
I really don't have a problem with it. I don't think that the champion has to win every match going into Mania. I know that's supposed to look strong and all that, but especially the way she won, it's a little shady. She was distracted, and all that. I completely was flipping out when Carmella came down because I really wanted to cash in. I mean, it wasn't going to happen, but I was hoping for it. But, they got a good amount of time for the match. I actually liked the match, and I know I don't always say that about the women's matches, but I'm a big Natty fan, and I don't think she gets half the respect that she actually deserves. But it was a pretty decent match. I enjoyed it.
Brandon?
Yeah, as long as this doesn't result in anything, I'm okay with it. But, I'm curious to see what they do with Carmella and the whole Money in the Bank briefcase, because, with all the rumors and with what everyone would hope and expect with Asuka and Charlotte, and with Asuka as a champion. Carmella has to either A, lose it at some point by, making a stupid decision and actually having one of these failed cash-ins cost her the briefcase, or have what I would personally love to see, just to make Carmella basically the female Baron Corbin even more than Baron Corbin is himself, have her continuously fail to cash in until June, and then have just have the time run out on it and have her forced to relinquish it.
I think that does no favors for her, though. I think that you're going to do more damage to her if that happens than you would by having her fail to cash it in successfully.
Not really, because at least then, yes, she'd be stupid because she wouldn't understand the rules of the Money in the Bank briefcase, but at least it wouldn't be her, making a boneheaded decision that costs her the briefcase.
I would also be curious as to when her contract expires, since, remember, it was stripped from her, and then she had to win it back on an episode of Smackdown a couple of weeks after Money in the Bank, too.
That is true. Then
I feel like
you could, in theory, have, two Money in the Bank briefcase holders at once.
Yeah, hypothetically, that's what I would be thinking there, is you could have somebody win the briefcase at Money in the Bank. You could have the SmackDown Women's Champion perform at Money in the Bank, and then Carmella cash in her Money in the Bank at the pay-per-view, because theoretically it hadn't been a full calendar year since she had won it yet.
That is true.
What if she jumps ship after Mania? What if she goes to Raw?
That's actually a good point.
I think the briefcase is brand specific.
Yeah, but they're getting away from different pay-per-views, aren't they? So it's really not going to matter. I don't think Money in the Bank is a separate pay-per-view. I don't remember. But I can totally see them. They make the shit stuff up as they go along all the time. I can totally see her going over to Raw, and I would actually like to see her be successful, even if it's a short reign, a couple of days, a week, a day, if they Christian her. What's the WrestleMania event for Raw? Nia and Alexis?
Nia and Alexa, yeah. I just don't think you'd have Nia lose it that quickly, though.
No, but I could see her, being moved over to Raw to shake it up a little bit.
I could actually see that and have Alexa somehow win the title back through shenanigans, and then have Carmella cash in on Alexa. I'd be okay with that. That's probably the best case scenario for Carmella at this point.
Well, let's not also forget that the Superstar Shakeup is probably coming after WrestleMania as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If she's drafted to Raw, I don't think they're going to make her drop the briefcase. That would be a new one. Well, I shouldn't say that.
I will say this much: if she moves to Raw, Cass is moving to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
They are no longer FABULO. Never mind.
So they still have the WORK together. Who cares? Grow up. It's a locker room. How many of the people back there have slept with each other? I'm sure they all get along fine.
There are so many comments there, so little time. We're going to move on.
Different podcast that will be.
Yeah.
Uso promo time, as apparently Jimmy and Jay are reunited, and never mind. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. They talk about the fact that while most people would expect them to run away and back down from the Bludgeon Brothers, that ain't in their DNA. They're ready to go to war at WrestleMania, and it's time to enter the Uso Penitentiary. Our next singles contest is scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Is Luke Harper taking on Jimmy Uso? And is it just me, Brandon, or did they look like they were about to hang a loss on Luke Harper here?
Yeah, at first it kind of did, but I kind of figured that he was going to make the big comeback and win this out.
For those of you wondering what the hell I'm talking about, while while the Uso in the ring, Jimmy, I think, was the opponent for Harper.
Mm-hmm.
While he had agitated Eric Rowan, Eric Rowan hopped up onto the apron, which distracted the referee. While the referee was distracted, Harper was in the ropes, and Jay super kicked Harper from the outside. Harper stumbled away from the ropes and got super kicked by Jimmy on the inside of the ring, because apparently it was a super kick party and Luke Harper was invited.
Super kick party!
Oh my god, now I'm going to have super freak in my head. I can't take two of you.
Because you're a super kick. Super kick. It's super kick, eh?
That would be hilarious if the Young Bucks decided to do something with that.
Anywho, Harper does kick out at 2, and a little bit later on, it is a discus lariat that spells curtains for Jimmy Uso at the 4-minute and 42-second mark. Liz, your thoughts on this contest?
It wasn't bad. You did have that moment where you're like, oh, wait, Harper's going to lose. That doesn't seem right with what they're doing. But I didn't mind the little swerve, or anything there. I mean, they still made them look, very dominant, but, the Usos are, all riled up, and they had to make them as the champions still look a little bit, like champions.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I was perfectly fine with it. Like Liz said, you have to keep the champions looking strong. And plus, this is kind of setting up for, what you kind of expect both the New Day and the Usos are going to have to do during the title match, which is they're going to have to team up against the bigger team. They're going to have to team up against the Bludgeon Brothers and use some numbers advantage in order to even the odds. And that's exactly what the Usos did against Harper here. So, it's kind of setting up what to expect for this title match at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Modern day Maharaja promo time follows. As Jinder Mahal talks about the fact that he has been added to the U.S. title match, he brought the WWE Championship to glory. He made SmackDown the premier show in the WWE. And while we claim we want to change, glorious. Okay, I'm done with the singing for the night, I promise.
You want to hear the funny thing about this whole promo? And I'm sure I didn't miss much of anything considering what you just ran down. I didn't hear any of this because a severe weather alert came up on the screen for me, and I had the whole thing muted for the whole entire time he was talking, and I was perfectly fine with it.
You didn't miss a thing.
Nope, I'm sure I didn't.
I feel like I would be better off listening to a severe weather alert than a Jinder Mahal promo.
That's exactly what Tori said. She was like, thank you, severe weather alert.
Which I have a hysterical Cassian story about the weather alert. Remind me to tell you later.
Okay.
Anywho, first Mahal is interrupted by Orton, or by Rude, excuse me, and then he's interrupted by Orton. Eventually, Rude and Orton appear to be about to zone in on the attack on Mahal when, like a good heel, Sunil Singh is there. And Mahal shoves Sunil towards Orton and Mahal and Rude to take the beat down.
I legit laughed.
A rope-hanging DDT and a glorious DDT to Sunil Singh follow. Mahal escapes ringside. Orton tries to RKO Bobby Roode. Roode tries to glorious DDT Orton. They end up at a standoff. And bingo, bango, Bob, your monkey's your uncle. We have our main event for our singles.
Our tag team match player?
Slow down. Try this again. Sorry, I had a phone call come in that I had to ignore. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bob's your uncle. We have a tag team match set up for next week's episode of SmackDown, as it will be Sunil Singh and Jinder Mahal taking on Randy Orton and Bobby Roode. Is it just me, or do you guys kind of want to see Singh get the pinfall in that match when one of them turns on the other for the babyface team?
Yes.
No.
Just given their characters, I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yeah, you're probably right, but
Listen, I died laughing when he showed him. I literally almost fell off my bed laughing. I haven't.
What? Was it just me, or was that glorious DDT not much of a DDT at all, and more of a a suplex?
Maybe it was like an implant DDT, which technically it's supposed to be.
But it looked like he tossed him over his back.
Well, he's so tiny.
Yeah, this is the dude who was bumping almost backflips onto announce tables, so he's not going to get any sympathy from me.
True.
We move on as our following contest, scheduled for one fall, is women's tag action as Naomi and Becky Lynch try to get some of their heat back after losing to Carmella and Natalya at the pay-per-view. They take on the Riot Squad team of Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan. We do see Naomi and Becky get the win. Becky taps Sarah Logan with the disarmer.
Yep.
This is a match that went 2.5 minutes. It was there. Yahoo.
It was 2.5 minutes too long.
And this was pretty much just setting up for all four of them, and I'm assuming Ruby Riott to say, yeah, we're going to be in the Don't Call It the Moolah Battle Royal.
Can I just take a moment to talk about that here real quick?
Go for it, because I know you want to.
Well, not to mention, it's not like there was anything worth talking about in this tag match. It was 2.5 minutes of nothingness.
True.
Yay, baby faces win. Woo! Okay. This may be the quickest about face in WWE history.
Well, say thank you to Snickers.
I'm disappointed that it took somebody having to step up and say, yeah, if you name it after her, we're pulling our sponsorship.
Well, of course. Like we talked...
I'm sorry, Brandon. Was that confirmed, though?
Yes.
Was that confirmed?
Confirmed.
Okay, sorry. I didn't say. I wanted just asking.
But, I mean, like we talked about with certain teams getting into tournaments on the March Madness podcast earlier, money talks. And that's all most places listen to nowadays. They don't care about what the fans say. They don't care about petitions. They don't care about anything like that. But then as soon as a sponsor threatens to pull themselves out of your programming, then it's going to be, we have to do something about it.
It's just... We talked about how where money lies, honor dies before. This is an instance of money stepping up to defend the actual honor of the people that can't defend themselves now. This was Snickers taking a stand and telling the WWE, yeah, not on our watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to me that it got to that point that you were actually going to honor Fabulous Moolah by naming something after her, knowing the kind of absolutely despicable human being she was.
Mm-hmm.
To put this in a more modernized sense, and you can send all hate mail to hebtheeagle@gmail.com for this one, and I will take here. That would be like naming a battle royal these days after Chris Benoit. It is that simple.
Well, Snickers forced WWE's hand. That's the main thing out of this.
Naming a battle royal after Moolah? You need a Snickers.
Oh, did you see the memes?
You're not you when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers.
I haven't seen any.
There were some, they weren't really memes, but they were conversations that people created of Snickers being like, you're gonna name it after Fabulous Moolah? Yes. Here, eat a Snickers. And then WWE eating it and being like, better.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to eat a Snickers bar in tribute right now to Snickers, but I have another segment to get through on this podcast, and then I'll eat a Snickers bar. Because, frankly, I'm going to need some sugar to make it through 205 Live. All right, let's go ahead. Our main event promo, because apparently one opening promo wasn't enough.
Well, they still had to deal with the whole KO Sammy thing.
Well, granted, I would rather have this main eventing the show than that BS tag match we just talked about, or didn't talk about, I guess would be more specifically accurate.
Yep.
As Daniel Bryan calls down Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to talk about their actions towards SmackDown Live Commissioner Shane McMahon last week. Shane, your selling needs work, pal. Anyway. Oh. Anyway, Sammy and Kevin proceed to kiss Daniel's ass, saying that he's always been their staunchest supporter and that they can't wait to take over SmackDown together, the three of them. Bryan says not so fast, and while he appreciates them welcoming him back, he talks about the attack on Shane last week. Bryan doesn't find it funny at all. Sammy and Kevin admit that they may have gotten a little bit carried away, but that Shane deserved everything that happened to him, which leads to Bryan saying that you guys cannot attack your superiors, and while he hates to do this to them, he has no other option. As somebody who's been fired twice himself before, he's come back a better person both times. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. My voice hurts, Brandon. You want to do the Vince line here?
You're fired!
That's really impressive.
Let me see if I can't do this. You're fired!
I like Brandon's better.
Ha!
I'm horrendously insulted that you said that, Liz.
You're welcome.
I'll get over it here. What Bryan won't get over is the fact that after telling them that they're fired, Bryan proceeds to shake hands with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and then it is Zayn and Owens on the attack, albeit briefly, before Daniel Bryan is fired the fudge sickle up. See, I can say words that are meant to be said that aren't one of those words that we shouldn't say, Liz.
It was an accident.
I've done it before.
So have I. I'm just giving Liz guff. That's all.
I know.
Brandon, tone it down, you say? Okay, 6 corner drop kicks and what was the other? A German suplex later. Are you sure about that?
I didn't say he was going to tone it down. I was just saying maybe he should. And maybe in terms of his schedule, he won't be going all out.
There were some very creative camera angles on the kicks that Bryan took, because I can't say for sure that they did or didn't land, but they looked good from the camera angles that we got.
Sounded like they landed.
I'm not sure Kevin's super kick landed. I think Sammy's haluva kick did, but I don't think Kevin's super kick did.
Oh, their kicks on Bryan. Oh, I thought you were talking about...
The drop kicks by Bryan definitely landed. I meant the kicks to Bryan rather than the ones he's delivering. The ending visual that we get is for the second week in a row, an authority figure on SmackDown gets laid out and has to be stretchered off as Kevin Owens hits Daniel Bryan with the apron bomb.
Yeah, that's quite the way to come back.
To borrow a line from our dear friend Theodore Arlong, a.k.a. Peanut Head, tag match, playa.
Shocking.
Okay, despite your relative unenthusiasticness about Bryan actually being back in the ring, you got to admit, long-term storytelling with regards to these four, this is actually the best-case scenario for all four of these guys in this match at WrestleMania. Okay. Is it not, Liz?
Not entirely.
No.
I asked Liz first. You wait your turn, Biskobing.
Okay, let me hold on. Ooh, my screen just went crazy. Okay, so let me just say this. For weeks, at least now, everybody's been speculating that Daniel was cleared. I think this segment, he's probably been cleared for a while because they really took it to an extreme level. I think if he was recently cleared, they wouldn't have gone that far. Maybe, who knows? This is them. Like I said before, I didn't emotionally react the way, so many did. But that's just me. That's just how I am. I don't think this tag match is the greatest thing that could happen to them, at WrestleMania at all. I think I am Shane can stop having matches. His sister can stop having matches. They don't belong inside of a ring. I think that's possibly part of it. I could care less about this storyline because it's had Shane, who, as I don't know him as a person. He's probably very nice. As a businessman, I respect him. As as a performer, I do respect him. I hate the storyline. He's just become like his sister and his father, and he was supposed to be the opposite of them, and all that crap. So it's just more of the same. I don't think it's the greatest match they could have had. I'd rather have just seen Sammy versus Kevin, then. I don't think Shane needs to ever have a match again. I don't care that he's lost them all. That means, nothing. All right, he should lose them all, unless it's, something, really amazing that, reason he needs to win. I don't, so it's been, everybody's kind of suspected he's coming back. I am very, very happy for the man that he's able to return to his dream and his profession and all of that. I really am. I don't have any attachment to the storyline. It doesn't do anything for me. I would rather have seen somebody get hurt, for real or not, and him magically come in and replace them. That would have had a bigger impact for me than, he's teaming up with Shane and he will most likely turn on Shane. That's my thought anyway.
Brandon, go ahead and poop on my parade even further.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with Liz, but for different reasons. Just 2 weeks ago, and even before that, it looked as though Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were breaking up. And, maybe we were getting the Kevin versus Sami match at Mania. And even before that, when they were a cohesive unit, Daniel seemed like, like he was more on their side than on Shane's. And yes, I get within storyline right now with the way they attacked Shane, Daniel's not very happy with them and everything. But, I mean, unless the attack is going to completely turn Daniel against them and everything, which I get, okay. But beyond that, for months now, Daniel has been so against what Shane has become. And we talked about it on the show before that, this whole feud seemed very clear, or didn't seem very clear-cut. Wasn't that very prototypical face versus heel dynamic. It was very, blurring the lines and very gray against gray. You could side either way, and you could make an argument for it. Whereas now, it seems pretty, even for KO and Sammy's most ardent supporters, you gotta say, they're kind of being dicks right now. So, of course you're gonna have to side with Shane and Daniel on this. So, for one, it takes that aspect away from it and kind of just makes it more blasé again. But at the same time, also, like Liz said, and like we all expect with any Shane match, especially against guys like KO and Sammy are going over in this match. And unless you're gonna have Daniel, either turn or, get, which would be crazy for them to do right after they just cleared him and everything. Unless you're going to either have him turn or have him, have some sort of injury angle, it would be beyond stupid to have him lose his first match back. Yes, Shane is going to probably eat the pin, but still, most people are going to be like, we want Daniel back, we want to see him win, we want to see him succeed again. And it's basically going to be 2014 all over again. So, they need to be very careful about what they do here. Because while I love Daniel and I want to see him succeed again, obviously, with the way WWE handles things, they just opened Pandora's box right back up.
See, here's the thing. You can't make Bryan a heel out of the gate right now just because people are going to be so excited that he's back as an active.
Oh, I agree with that.
Either way, though, you have – and I could see Bryan and Shane winning the match at WrestleMania, but Sami and KO winning the war down the road. I don't think that this will be over between these four just at WrestleMania. I think there'll be a tag match involved at WrestleMania, and that'll depend on who's winning on that match will depend on the stipulation attached. If it's Sami and Kevin's jobs versus Daniel and Shane, then Sami and Kevin are winning. If it's just Sami and Kevin versus Daniel and Shane, then Daniel and Shane are winning.
Which, considering what happened today, I'm assuming it's going to be the former.
Likewise, which is why my money on that match will be on Sami and Kevin.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if there's no stipulation in regards to their potential employment, then Shane and Bryan, in my opinion, would be the favorites in this match.
Mm-hmm. But would you agree with me that, having Daniel coming back and being in this match, a lot of people are going to want to see Daniel win?
Yes and no. Because I think that you can tell stories coming out of this match. Specifically, you could tell a story where Daniel questions himself whether or not he still has it to hang in him with the people and the talents that they have on the roster right now.
That's true.
Like a lot of these guys that are big on SmackDown right now weren't active competitors when Bryan was last in the ring.
Yes.
AJ Styles wasn't in the WWE. Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't in the WWE. Baron Corbin was in NXT. Bobby Roode was in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
The only one of these people that's in the current main event scene in the WWE that on SmackDown that Bryan's had any kind of extended interaction with the exception of Dolph Ziggler, who we saw tonight, is Randy Orton.
Yep.
So there are plenty of stories that you could still tell with Bryan's return, even if he does lose his first match back. And as you said, if Sami and Kevin are to win at WrestleMania in that tag match, there's not a doubt in my mind that Shane's eating the fall.
Yeah.
You could also have it that they do lose, where Daniel's about to get the pin and Shane's ego gets the better of him and he interrupts it, and then they end up losing with Shane eating the pin.
The other thing, too, is how much longer does Daniel remain as the general manager of SmackDown? Because if he's looking at a return to the ring here, I don't think you can keep him in a position of power on SmackDown for much longer.
That all depends upon what his schedule is going to be like. If he's coming back full time, then I completely agree with you, and I'm sure they're looking for a replacement right now. But if he's only going to be wrestling on a limited basis, then I don't see any reason why he couldn't potentially stay as general manager, kind of like what Kurt is doing.
I want Teddy Long back. Holla, holla.
Yes, don't we all? As long as we don't get...
Bischoff.
Excuse me!
Did you just say you want Eric Bischoff, Liz?
I love Eric Bischoff, yep.
I'd be fine with
I'm back. And this podcast is over. Final score time, everybody. Scale of 1 to 10. Liz, I'll let you start.
6.
Brandon?
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
I'm closer to Brandon than I am Liz, but I'm a little bit lower. I'm going 7. All right. One-word review time. I think this might be the most obvious one-word review of all time for me.
What is it?
The one word that I have is yes! Fine, don't put that over. See if I care.
No, I was
I'm
about
trying
to
think
say...
of a word.
Can I steal yours, Harry, or do I have to just pick my own?
You can use my word if you want to.
Okay. Then I'm just going to continue it. Yes! 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 Yes!
Okay, you didn't have to steal it 5 times. Once would have sufficed. Liz?
It was all right. No, no, it was a good show. I can't even think of a word. I'm too tired, so I apologize. It was. I'll go with entertaining. It was entertaining.
You know
wait,
what?
I'll give you a better one. How's this? Emotional.
Yeah, I was actually gonna think that one.
Okay,
I was thinking about that one as well.
That actually works. Although
Yeah.
what we've learned in tonight's episode of the SmackDown Live review is that Liz hates Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. I have a new name for Liz now.
Okay, but you know what? That's so not true because I never said I hated Daniel Bryan. In fact, I've said the complete opposite.
She just doesn't want him to come back.
Okay, so then for...
Oh, wait, what's my new name here, Brandon?
Buzz
You
Killington.
still don't get to be Vince.
I don't get to be Vince?
You don't get to be Vince.
Why not?
Because you're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now.
But wait, but could you let him tell my new name here so I can decide if I'm going to hang up?
Oh, you didn't hear it? I said your new nickname is Buzz Killington.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm actually
in my outro before I was so rudely interrupted.
I'm actually okay with that.
Hold on, give me a second. So for the Dr. Doofenshmirtz to my Perry the Platypus, Brandon Biskobing.
Love it.
The party pooper Liz Pugliese. I'm your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. Thanking you for listening to this week's episode of the Wrestling to the Max SmackDown Live review for March 20th, 2018. Brandon and Liz will be back at you next Tuesday night. I will see you guys in 2 weeks for the go-home for WrestleMania. Thanks for listening, everybody. 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge is next here on the W2M Network.